हरि ओम। ओम श्री गणेशाय नमः। ओम श्री हिरण्यगर्भाय नमः। ओम श्री महाविष्णवे नमः। ओम श्री महादेवाय नमः। ओम श्री महादुर्गाय नमः। ओम श्री राम रामाय नमः। ओम श्री सद्गुरवे नमः। ओम समस्त जन कल्याणे निरतं करुणामयम् नमामि चिन्मयं देवं सद्गुरुं ब्रह्म विद्वरम् शंकरं शंकराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः। श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानाम् आलयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पादशङ्करं लोकशङ्करम्। सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्। ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति मूर्तिभेदविभागिने व्योमवद्व्याप्तदेहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। शङ्करं परमानन्दं ब्रह्मनिष्ठं यतीश्वरम् भाष्यभ्रान्तिहरं वन्दे शुद्धज्ञानैकबोधकम्। ॐ नमः शिवाय 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 ॐ नमः शिवाय। नमः पार्वती पतये। हर हर महादेव। हरि ओम हरि ओम। We'll begin with the Shanti mantra. ॐ भद्रं कर्णेभिः शृणुयाम देवाः भद्रं पश्येमाक्षभिर्यजत्राः स्थिरैरङ्गैः स्तुष्टुवागंसस्तनूभिः व्यशेम देवहितं यदायुः स्वस्ति न इन्द्रो वृद्धश्रवाः स्वस्ति नः पूषा विश्ववेदाः स्वस्ति नस्ताक्षो अरिष्टनेमिः स्वस्ति नो बृहस्पतिर्दधातु। ओम शांति शांति शांति। हरि ओम। We shall chant the shlokas of the Karika from shloka number 6. प्रभवः सर्वभावानां सतामिति विनिश्चयः सर्वं जनयति प्राणः चेतोंशून् पुरुषः पृथक्। विभूतिं प्रसवं त्वन्ने मन्यन्ते सृष्टिचिन्तकाः स्वप्नमायासरूपेति सृष्टिरन्यैर्विकल्पिताः विकल्पिता. Gaudapadacharya ji, he summarizes the main teaching of the Mandukya mantras, and he also points out the important points which we have to understand and remember. So now he has taken up this topic of creation of this world. This world is universe, has come from existence, and it is existing so from that Supreme Brahma alone, the world comes into manifestation, it is sustained, and again get dissolved. So from that Brahma, who is Ishwara, who is also indicated as Ishwara, from Ishwara, spontaneously, Hiranyagarbha is born, and from Hiranyagarbha, Vaishvanara is born, and from Vaishvanara, all the Devtas and all other beings are born. See, Hiranyagarbha is the first jiva to be born. He begins the process of creation. He does Panchikaranam, the grossification of the 5 tanmatras. They are grossified to become the 5 great elements. And Vaishvanara is born. And Vaishvanara further through Trivrit Karanam creates the various lokas and creates the bodies of the Devtas. Then through the second Trivrit Karanam creates the bodies of the plants. And with the third Trivrit Karanam, the bodies of other creatures, animal, birds, and human beings are created. So the process of creation from Hiranyagarbha onwards is very logically and rationally revealed. Hiranyagarbha also has his own ahankar and his mind, intellect. And he was born with the desire to create the world. He was born ignorant, but then immediately gained knowledge, and as an enlightened being, as the Jivan Mukta, he continues functioning. In the same way, Ishwara also is an enlightened being. So from Ishwara, who is Sarvajna, Sarvashaktiman, Sarvantaryami, who is Sakshat Brahma, Hiranyagarbha is born. So question comes that how from Ishvara, who is not different from Brahma, this creation happens, this birth of Hiranyagarbha happens. Because Ishvara is Nirgun, Nirakar, free from all desires. So how this creation happens? What prompts this creation? So there are various theories. One theory is that the whole creation is the Vistar, the Vibhuti of Ishvara. It's just the glories of Ishvara. Vibhutim prasavam tvanne manyante shrashti chintakaha. So some thinkers of creation, they say that the whole world is the glory of Ishvara. Even in Purusha Suktam it is mentioned that etavanasya mahima ato jaya gamscha purushaha. That this whole world, this universe is the mahima of that supreme Purusha. And he is much greater, he transcends all. Then there are others who say that this whole world is like a swapna of that Devata, of that Purusha, of Ishvara. Some say that it is like a magic show of Ishvara. Maya Swarupeti is like a magic. The whole world is like a magical creation. So in this way, various thinkers are there who talks about various different theories. So again, in the following two verses, Gaudapadacharya ji reveals some more theories of these thinkers of creation. So let us chant Shloka number 8. इच्छामात्रं प्रभो सृष्टिः इति सृष्टौ विनिश्चितः इति सृष्टौ विनिश्चिताः कालात् प्रसूतिं भूतानां मन्यन्ते कालचिन्तकाः. Then there are others who say that Ichha matram prabhoho shrishtihi. that this whole Srishti is the desire of that Ishwara. Ishwara desired, and his desire alone is expressing as this universe. He just desired to become many. He desired to express as this universe. And Ishvara is Satya Sankalpaha. Shankaracharya ji writes, ki Ichha matram prabhoho Satya Sankalpatvat Shrishtihi Ghatadihi Sankalpana matram Na Sankalpanatiriktam. That the whole world is like Sankalpa of that Ishvara. He doesn't have to do anything. You just have to think, bring that sankalpa, and the world will happen, the universe will happen. That is the power of that supreme Ishvara. See, when we have to create something or do something, it is not only required for us to think about it, but we have to also put forth effort. If I want to have a cup of coffee, just by thinking about it, that coffee will not come in front of me. I will have to put forth effort to make it. But in case of Ishvara, he thinks of the universe and the universe is created. So, Ichha matram prabhoho shrishtihi iti shrishtav vinishchitaha. That's what some thinkers they say. Because it's such a great mystery that people are so curious to know that how Ishvara creates this world. What motivates Ishvara to create this world? See, create this world doesn't mean from scratch. The Upanishads also talk about the world as cyclic. It is created, it is sustained, and it gets dissolved. And when the whole world gets dissolved, it remains as Ishvara. It remains as that Sat Brahma. Sadeva Swami Idamagrasit. In Chandogya it is said, this world remains as Sat. There are no separate forms existing. It remains as Sat alone. Just like before the creation of the pot was existing only as clay. And in that clay there was no form of that pot. And from that clay alone, the pot comes into manifestation. Similarly, the whole world remains as Sat, Brahma. And from that Sat, this world comes into manifestation. So, Ichha Matram, by the very Sankalpa of Ishvara, this manifestation happens. Then there are other thinkers who say kalat prasutim bhutanam manyante kala chintakaha. There are some who are the thinkers on time. Means they think about time. Time is also a very mysterious phenomenon. Time seems to be constantly moving. So they think that time is an eternal factor, and in time the creation happens, the sustenance happens, and the dissolution happens of the world, and again the creation happens. In Bhagavad Gita also Bhagavan tells Arjuna कि अव्यक्तादीनि भूतानि व्यक्तमध्यानि भारत अव्यक्त निधनान्नेव तत्र का परिदेवना. There are all these beings whom you see now. Once upon a time they were all avyakta, unmanifest. Not that they were not there, but they were unmanifest. They were not manifest, but existing. Avyaktadini bhutani vyaktamadhyani bharata. And in the middle they become vyakta. For a short time they become manifest. And avyakta nidhanam, and later they again become unmanifest. So do not grieve, hey Arjuna. Bhagavan also tells Arjuna that there was never a time when I was absent or you were absent or these beings were absent. I was always there, you were always there, all these beings were always there, and all of us will always be in future. So all this play seems to be happening in time. It's like a seasonal thing. Just like we experience the various seasons, winter, summer, rainy season, autumn, spring. So every year we find the same seasons come at the same time. Dinayamimyo sayam pratah shishira vasanta punarayatah kala kridati gacchati ayuhu tadapi namunchati asha vayuhu. In Bhajagovindam also Bhagavan says that time moves, time as though plays, day, night, morning, evening, various seasons, they come and go, non-stop. So time seems to be an eternal factor, beginningless and endless. And in time, creation happens. Creation is sustained, and again dissolution happens. So that is their theory. Kalat prasutim bhutanam manyante kala chintakaha. Then again there are other thinkers who say, that is now revealed in the 9th shloka, let us chant. Bhogartham shrishtirityanne क्रीडार्थमिति चापरे देवशेष स्वभावोऽयम् आप्तकामस्य का स्पृहा भोगार्थं सृष्टिः इति अन्ये. There are other thinkers who say that this Srishti is created for the sake of bhoga, for the sake of enjoyment. For the sake of enjoyment means for the sake of the enjoyment of the jivas. There are infinite jivas, and these infinite jivas have performed infinite different types of actions, and they have to get the appropriate results of sukha and dukkha depending on their karma. Suppose I perform some action now, a good action, I will get a good result in future. The action doesn't get destroyed. Shankaracharya ji, in his commentary in one of the Upanishad, he says that the actions which are performed never get destroyed. They give the result. If not in this lifetime, then in future lifetime. And even if the whole world goes into pralaya, then again when the Srishti happens, then again we will be born to get the result. So in order to experience the results of our karma, which is called bhoga, to enjoy the results of our karma, the Srishti has to be there. If I have performed karma in this world, then a similar world has to be there for me to experience the result. Therefore, the Upanishad also say that the same type of world is created again and again. Yatha purvam akalpitam. See, because if I have performed actions in this type of world, I cannot have the result in totally a different world. So similar world is created again and again so that all these jivas can experience the results of their karma. And there are so many varieties of beings are there. And they have performed varieties of karma. So the whole thing is so complex. So this complex world with lot of intricacies is there. Suppose I have to get some result according to my karma, and somebody else has to give that result according to his karma. Then we are brought together also by that supreme power. If I have, according to my karma, if I have to do somebody's seva, who is helpless, who cannot do anything for himself, having some physical defect, physical problem, some handicap, according to my karma, I have to do his seva. And he has the karma, which, according to which he has to experience the seva. So we are brought together. That jiva can be born, may be born as my own child, and I will have to spend my time doing seva, effort, time, energy, doing the seva. So this is a very complex world. And each one of us, we experience the results of our own karma. If we have done karma individually, we get the individual results. If we have done karma collectively, then we get a collective results. Sometimes we find in the world, many people, they experience the same result at the same time. Some war happens, some famine, or some accident, or some pandemic. A lot of people experience similar results. So maybe we might have performed similar actions, or we might have performed actions together. Sometimes we perform action as a family, as a society, as a nation, as a civilization. So we will get the result. The civilization who has done harm will get the harm back. The civilization who has done good, they will get the good results. So it's a very complex world. And this world is required for the sake of all these jivas. They have to experience their results. So in order to create the right type of environment for all these beings, Ishwara creates the world. So bhogartham shrishtihi iti anne. So some thinkers, they say that this whole srishti is for the sake of bhog, bhog for the jivas. Then there are others who say kridartham iti cha apare. Other thinkers, they say that no, I mean, they have their own theory. They say that this whole universe and creation is like a play of that Ishwara. It is his krida, his sports, his play. Just like a little children when they play, out of their own joy, out of their own happiness, they play. They may not have any particular agenda behind their play. Huh? You must have observed little children playing, and they don't require any special gadgets also. Nowadays, modern time, little children, sometimes or many children, they get attached to the modern gadgets, mobile phone and all those things. But in a natural way, little children, even without any special equipments, they can play. You just leave them alone, they will play. If they go out, they will just play with some stones or some stick and they will run around and chase something and jump around. You will not find any particular logic in their play. You will not be able to predict where that child will be in the next moment. So it's a play, it's a krida. Similarly, some thinker they say Ishwara doesn't have any particular desire. He doesn't have any goals. In Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavan says that, hey Arjuna, I don't have anything to achieve in this world. There is nothing which I have to achieve. So doesn't have any agenda. But out of his own joy, he just plays. So one of his play is to playfully create the world, sustain the world, and again dissolve the world. Kridartha. So all these theories are there. Vibhuti and Swapnamaya and Ichhamatra and Kalat Prasutim, Bhogartham, Kridartham. After giving all these theories, Gaudapadacharya ji, he gives his own opinion, own understanding, which is very beautiful. And what does he say? कि देवस्य एष स्वभावः देवस्य एष स्वभावोऽयम् आप्तकामस्य का स्पृहा. He says that Deva here refers to Ishwara, who is that Sakshat Brahma only. So that Ishwara, he says that Aptakam, he is Aptakam, he is totally fulfilled. There are no desires in that Ishwara. Ishwara is not a jiva. Jivas are born and they have their desires, but Ishwara doesn't have any kamana. So apta kamasya ka spruha, one who doesn't have any, one who is totally fulfilled, where will there be any spruha? Where will there be any desire to do anything? We want to create a world for the sake of the jivas. Why will Bhagwan create this world for the sake of jivas? Or it is said that for krida, for play, even those who have desire, they will like to express themselves in a play. They will like to play and all. That's also expression of desire only. But one who is totally fulfilled, where will there be any desire to do anything? Shankaracharya ji writes कि भोगार्थम क्रीडार्थम इति च अन्य सृष्टिं मन्यन्ते. There are other thinkers who talk about this whole srishti as for the sake of bhoga or for the sake of play. But then he says, anayoho pakshayoho dushanam. He said both these opinions, they have some defects. They have some shortcomings. So, Gaudapadacharya ji says that the real reason will be कि devasya esha swabhavaha. This whole thing is Ishwara swabhava. that we will see about exactly the meaning of Swabhava. Swabhavoyam devasya swabhava paksham ashritya. So, taking the support of this, that everything is Bhagwan's Swabhav, Gaudapadacharya he negates this theory that this whole world is created for the sake of bhoga or for sports, that is the thing which propelled Ishwara to create the world. He says, no, that cannot be the reason. See, once Brahmaji or Hiranyagarbha is born, then in a systematic way the world continues to get created. But when the whole world has gone into pralay, when only Ishvara alone is existing, nothing other than Ishvara is there. In Srimad Bhagavat also there is a beautiful shloka in the Chatushloki Bhagavat where it is said, Bhagwan himself says, Ahameva asameva gre nanyat sadasat param, that I alone was there in the beginning, nothing other than me was there. So when Bhagwan alone is there, why the world will be created? To create the world, a desire should come. Even time is not there. Everything remains in Ishvara as Ishvara. There is no passage of time happening there. There are no thoughts, there are no desires. So how come, means there cannot be the motivation coming from some desire to create the world. So this theory of bhogartham, kridartham, or to say that ichha matram or kala prasutim, from that Ishvara, all this coming in this way cannot be accepted, cannot be understood in that way. Because apta kamasya ka spraha, Shankaracharya says, the va pakshanam apta kamasya ka spraha sarvesham va pakshanam. By saying that apta kamasya ka spraha, Gaudapadacharya negates all theories. Because in all these theories, it implies that Ishvara, he creates. So some action is there happening and which is motivated by some desire, some prayojan. Even a mad person doesn't do anything without prayojan, without some reason behind it. So all these theories imply that some action is happening and some desires are there. But this cannot be accepted because Ishvara is Sakshat, that Brahma, who is Satyam, Jnanam, Anantam, Anandam, Ekam. There is no possibility of having any desire or any motivation or any impulse to create the world. But the fact is, world is there. The fact is, we experience this world, and also the Upanishads and our Vedas, they talk about this world. And even in this Upanishad, in the beginning itself, the Upanishad talked about the world. The Upanishad has said, कि ओम इति एतद् अक्षरमिदं सर्वं तस्योपव्याख्यानं भूतं भवत् भविष्यदिति सर्वम् ओंकार एव. The mantra had said that everything is Om, all that was in the past. So if we go into the past, the whole world was in Pralay, that is also Om, and that which will happen in future, that is also Om, and what is present is also Om, and that which is beyond time is also Om. So the Upanishad accepts the world, and the Upanishad also reveals that Supreme Brahma as Nirgun, Nirakar, Nishkriya, Ekam, Aptakam. So how can there be the possibility of creation of this world? So the only reason which appears, which is most logical, the rational, and the most beautiful is that it is the Swabhava of Ishwara. Devasya esha swabhavoyam aptakamasya kaspruha. That it is the very Swabhava, means very nature of that Ishwara to express as the world, to sustain the world, and again dissolve the world, and again the world gets expressed. This is the very nature, the very Swabhava of that Ishvara, who is Brahma, of that Brahma. So for example, let us say some object of this world, like sugar. Sugar, if I eat sugar, it tastes very sweet. So sugar is sweet. Why is sugar sweet? What is the reason for sugar to be sweet? What motivates the sugar to be sweet? What is the purpose of sugar to be sweet? There is no purpose. There is no motivation. There is no action happening there. It is the very nature of sugar to be sweet. It is the very nature of sugar to be sweet. Just like the sun. Sun illumines, appears to illumine the whole world. Bright, brilliant, luminous, illumines the world. What is the purpose? What is the motivation? What is the action happening behind? Nothing. It is the very nature of the sun to be luminous. Even if the earth and other planets were not there, the sun would have remained luminous. It is the very nature. Similarly, it is the very nature of Ishwara, of that Brahma, to express as the world, means the world gets expressed, or Brahma himself gets expressed as the world is sustained, gets dissolved, and again gets expressed. This cyclic thing which we see is the very Swabhava of that Ishvara. In Bhagavad Gita also Bhagwan in the 13th chapter talks about Prakriti and Purusha. He says, Prakritim Purusham Chaiva Vidhi Anadi Ubhav Api. That understand this Purusha and Prakriti as Anadi, as beginningless. Shankaracharya ji writes in his commentary that is Prakriti and Purusha, which expresses as this whole world, is beginningless and endless and Nitya, because Ishvara himself is Nitya. So his nature is also Nitya. So it is the very nature of that Ishvara to express as this world. So Devasya Esha Swabhavaha Swabhavoyam Apta Kamasya Kaspruha. So no activities. It is not that something is being done by that Ishvara, something is being done by Brahma. It's the very nature. To give the example, like the rope and snake. The rope is lying on the ground, coiled. It appears like a snake. To appear like a snake is the very nature of that rope. Rope is not doing anything. It is not doing anything. Or like we look at the sky. If the sky is very clear, we see it blue sky. Why it is appearing blue? It is the very nature. It appears like that. Similarly, it is the very nature of Ishvara to appear like the world with infinite beings. In Bhagavad Gita again, Bhagavan says in the 5th chapter, न कर्तृत्वं न कर्माणि लोकस्य सृजति प्रभुः न कर्मफल संयोगम स्वभावस्तु प्रवर्तते. There also he uses the term Swabhava. It is said, Bhagavan says, that I don't create sense of doership in the jivas. Na kartutvam, na karmani, I don't create any karmas for them. Na karma phala sanyogam, I don't bring the karma phala To them, everything happens according to Swabhava. Swabhavastu pravartate. And Shankaracharya in his Bhashya on this Swabhava, he says, Avidya Lakshana Prakriti. He defines that Swabhava as Avidya Lakshana Prakriti. This Avidya along with Prakriti creates this Swabhava, and according to that Swabhava, all the actions in this world happen. So this world which we are talking about is what you call is seen or can be thought of from the standpoint of a jiva and from the standpoint of Ishwara. I, as a jiva, when I look at this world, I experience myself as different, and I experience this world as different. I know that I have not created this world. So I start wondering who has created this world. I think about it, Ishwara. So from my standpoint, from an individual standpoint, the Upanishad slowly, steadily guides this individual towards recognizing his own self as, as that Brahma. Because I, as an individual, when I look at this world and look at myself, I have my own confusions. I do not know myself as I am, and I do not know this world as it is, which is called avidya. And because of this avidya, I have misunderstanding about myself, and I have misunderstanding about this world. And because of this misunderstanding, I suffer. So the Upanishads guide me from where I am and slowly take me toward the understanding of that Brahma and reveals that this world is Brahma and you are Brahma. So it guides me towards realizing myself as that Brahma. And what is that Brahma? Satyam Jnanam Anantam Anandam. And all this is just a swabhava of that Brahma. From the standpoint of Brahma, there is no division, there is no separateness, there is nothing other than Brahma. So when we come to realize myself as Brahma, then the whole talk about Jiva, Jagat, Ishwara will just get dissolved. Because everything is Brahma alone. There are no divisions of any kind. But as a Jiva, I look at this world, I think about Ishwara, So it is the very Swabhava of Brahma to express a Jiva, Jagat and Ishwara. And due to our ignorance as a Jiva, we see divisions, we see Dvaita. And when we recognize our own self as Brahma, then all these divisions will disappear. Only Brahma alone will be there as my own self. So see, this is very important. The Upanishad, the main purpose of this Upanishad and other Upanishad is to reveal the knowledge of Brahma, to reveal to us that I am Atma Brahma, this Atma is Brahma. So the Upanishad, from an individual as a Vishwa, when I look at this world, the Upanishad shifts my attention to Vaishvanara. When I understand myself as Vaishvanara, the Upanishad shifts my attention to Hiranyagarbha. And from Hiranyagarbha to Ishwara. And from Ishwara to my own Swarup as Brahma. Satyam Jnanam Anantam Brahma. I hope I could convey what is revealed here properly. And you could understand what I have said. You please think about it, listen to the pravachan again, contemplate, meditate, and we shall meet again soon, next Monday. Today is a very beautiful, auspicious day, Makar Sankranti. So wish you all a very auspicious Makar Sankranti. The sun appears to move towards the north. So it is the beginning of Uttaraya. Uttar is also the Disha, the direction of Ishwara. So this is a symbolic significance that just like the sun is moving towards north, towards Ishwara, we should also move towards Ishwara. Take a sankalpa to move towards Ishwara and realize Ishwara as our own self. Okay, so see you again soon. Hari Om. Shri Ram Jaya Ram Jaya Jaya Ram. 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 Jaya Jaya Ram. Jaya Jaya Ram. Boli Siyavar Ramchandra Bhagwan ki Jai. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om.